What if everything you believe, every fact you know, is subtly distorted? We like to think we see the world clearly, but hidden forces inside our own minds are constantly twisting our perception. This video will expose the invisible filters like confirmation bias and anchoring that are sabotaging your understanding of reality, making you question if you truly see the world as it is. Welcome to Inner Flame 101, where we ignite that inner spark to help you understand yourself and the world around you with greater clarity. Today, we're diving deep into the fascinating and sometimes frightening world of cognitive biases, the illusion of objectivity. Did you see what you expected to see in that illusion, or what was actually there? Our brains are fantastic at making sense of the world, but they take shortcuts. These are cognitive biases. Think of them as mental autopilots. These shortcuts exist because our brains are incredibly efficient. They evolved to help us manage the overwhelming amount of information we receive every second, to make quick decisions for survival. But sometimes, efficiency comes at the cost of accuracy. Confirmation bias, seeking what you already believe. First up, the insidious tendency to favor information that confirms what we already believe. It's called confirmation bias, and it's one of the most powerful and sneaky biases out there. Think about your social media feed. Ever notice how posts that align with your views seem to pop up more often? Or how, when you're researching a product, you naturally gravitate towards reviews that validate your initial interest? That's confirmation bias at play. It's not just about what we seek out. It's also about how we interpret information. We often filter out or downplay anything that challenges our existing beliefs, creating an echo chamber within our own minds. Interactive challenge. Think of a time you searched for evidence to prove yourself right, even when deep down you had doubts. That uncomfortable feeling? That's your inner flame trying to break through the bias. Anchoring and the power of first impressions. Transition. If we're constantly seeking what we believe, what about new information? How does our brain process something entirely new, or a first impression? That brings us to anchoring bias. Anchoring explains how an initial piece of information, or an anchor, disproportionately influences our subsequent judgments, even if that anchor is completely arbitrary. It sets a benchmark that's hard to move away from. Think about price negotiations, where the first number mentioned often dictates the entire conversation. Or an initial job offer. It can set your salary expectations for years. Even the first impression you form of someone can be an anchor that's tough to shift. Taking a moment to pause and reflect on how these biases might be affecting your daily decisions can be incredibly powerful. If you're finding this exploration valuable, take a quick second to hit that like button and subscribe. It truly helps this channel grow and allows us to bring more mind-bending insights to you. Availability heuristic, the vividness trap, bridge. So we seek what we believe, and we're heavily influenced by first impressions. But what about what we remember most easily? That brings us to the availability heuristic. This bias causes us to overestimate the likelihood or frequency of events based on how easily they come to mind. If an event is vivid, emotional, or frequently reported, our brains assume it's more common than it actually is. This is why many people fear flying more than driving, despite driving being statistically far more dangerous. Plane crashes are rare but incredibly dramatic and newsworthy, making them readily available in our minds. Lottery wins, sensationalized crime, they all fall prey to this vividness trap. Unmasking your mental filters, a call to clarity. So we've unmasked three powerful biases: confirmation, anchoring, and availability. Alone, they subtly distort our view. Together, their power to warp reality is immense. The goal isn't to eliminate biases. That's impossible. They're hardwired. The goal is to recognize them. Actively seek out information that challenges your views. Pause before making quick judgments, and diversify your sources of information. The real challenge is to question if you are truly seeing the world clearly, or just what your brain wants you to see. By understanding these invisible filters, you empower your inner flame to burn brighter, illuminating a path to a more objective and nuanced understanding of reality. This journey of self-awareness is just beginning. Join our growing community by subscribing, and tell us in the comments, which bias do you find yourself struggling with the most? Let's discuss how we can all see the world a little more clearly together.